Good morning, VC. It's Glen Kellaway coming from the basement. It's Saturday morning. Um, Geez, you guys haven't seen my face on a Glen Kellaway from the basement YouTube video for about a week now. Monday, instead of my weekly wrap up, I did a music room tour and I wasn't on screen. So I don't know if that's good or bad. But if you missed me, you head over to the Canadian Stud Muffins channel. Larry Graves and I have been doing some joint videos, which I am enjoying so much. Larry's a great guy. We're right in the middle of this CD exchange idea where we give each other 5 CDs that the other person has never heard before, and then we take them home. We spend a week and a half or whatever listening to them, and really intently listening to them so we can give an honest review. So that usually, between Larry and I think we're probably listening to CDs about 4 times each over the period of a week. Because let's be honest, sometimes you hear a CD for the first time and you just kind of go, ah. But the more you listen to it, the more you get out of it and you start to appreciate it. So it's only fair that we give these serious listens so we can go back and report our thoughts, give a little review, and then we rank the 5. It's been a lot of fun. There's a couple of videos up right now on Larry's channel, so please go over and check that out. And if you're not a subscriber to the Canadian Stud Muffin, please do so. Larry's got one of the best channels on YouTube. Inspiration to all vinyl community members who've started out. I'm sure we all started out watching Larry. Okay, so I'm starting a short little series here. My teenage years in music, 1966 to 1972. So my plan is every video, just talk about, I'm going to do 1966 each year individually. Just talk about the albums that were out that year, singles, if anything else was happening that was cool, concerts and stuff like that. I think I was fortunate enough to be a teenager from 1966 to 72, which I consider the classic era of music. I am quite confident if you asked any music lover, they are probably of the opinion their teenage years were the best for music, whether it be a someone from the 70s or 80s or 90s or 2000s. I'm sure there's something about growing up with music in those years that you carry that music with you forever. It brings back great memories of events and family, friends, school, whatever. But it's a really important time in everyone's life. So, for our sake of argument in this video, 66 to 72 is the greatest era of music. Maybe I'd go 64 to 74, but that gets out of my teenage years. So I'm going 66, 72. So let's get started. I was looking up albums that came out in 66. A few of them, obviously, I remembered, but some I didn't recall that well. January and February were really quiet, actually, for music. The singles charts were incredible. Like January, we had Paul Simon and Simon and Garfunkel, "The Sounds of Silence," and the Beatles, "We Can Work It Out." If you look at the Billboard charts, Sounds of Silence #1, "We Can Work It Out" is #2. Then it goes back and forth. It's crazy. But and February was the same. I don't see any albums that really were groundbreaking or anything that I was particularly fond of. But February of that year, "These Boots Are Made for Walking" was the #1 song, Nancy Sinatra. So that's pretty cool. March, there was one song that was on the charts forever and ever for the whole month. It's the Ballad of the Green Beret. I thought it was cheesy, but I guess people dug it. The Sergeant Barry Sadler. It was #1 for the whole month of March in 1966. If you're not familiar with that song, check it out. I guess if you have this national pride and stuff, and you probably were a big fan of that. So March albums. I was a big Love and Spoonful fan, and their first album was Do You Believe in Magic? But in 1966, they released the Daydream album, and obviously the title song Daydream's a big hit, but this is a really solid album. I love the Love and Spoonful. Yeah, what can I say? It's got Daydream on it. What else? Jug Band Music is on here, which was another big hit for them. You Didn't Have to Be So Nice. These guys were a hits machine. And Bald Headed, no, Bald Headed Lena wasn't on this one. Yes, it was. Bald Headed Lena, has anybody seen her? Cute as she can be. She's got a cute bald head that's as hard as lead. She's all right with me. Great song. Love and Spoonful, Daydream. Mamas and the Papas were huge. Mid 60s, great band. Mamas and the Papas, If You Can Believe Your Ears and Eyes was released. Monday Monday was the big hit off of this album. Straight Shooter was another one. They did a cover of I Call Your Name, the Beatles. Do You Want to Dance? They covered that. California Dreamin' is on this album. Spanish Harlem, You Baby. I mean, come on, just an amazing record. Mamas and the Papas. April. April. Hit song in April. The biggest one for me was Good Lovin' by the Young Rascals. What a great band they were. The best album that came out in April to me is Aftermath, the Rolling Stones. I mean, come on. It's got Mother's Little Helper on it, Lady Jane, Under My Thumb. Yeah, geez, just crazy good. Now this is the UK version. I wonder if the US version had those same hits on it. I'm not sure. I should have pulled the US version to see. May. Okay, I got to tell you, this was a non-event. I know history has proven it to be a classic record, but really, Pet Sounds as an album was really, I don't know, the Beach Boys just were not considered cool then. They just weren't. That's just history. Since then, this has become such a well-respected album, so not dissing it in any way. It's Brian Wilson's masterpiece, and very influential album, obviously. But released in May of '66. Wouldn't It Be Nice is on here. Sloop John B. God Only Knows. Yeah, so I had to give it a mention, even though it wasn't an album that was on my radar whatsoever, except maybe for the hits. Oh, an album I didn't pull. Shame on me. Yesterday and Today, the Beatles. It was like a comp album in North America, and obviously became famous because it was originally released with the Butcher cover and all that, which never saw the light of day, if I remember correctly, in the record stores. But yeah. Another one I didn't pull, Blonde on Blonde, Bob Dylan, my second favorite album of all time. That was mind-blowing. Double album. Double rock album, which was just like unheard of. Sad-Eyed Lady of the Lowlands taking up a whole side of a record was just like, what? That doesn't happen in pop music. And yeah, just what can you say? One of Bob's greatest albums. And the other incredible album that fights it out for first double album in the rock era that was ever released, Freak Out, Frank Zappa. Another one I didn't pull. God, my didn't do my homework very well. That was a mind-blowing album. I was fortunate enough to have a friend who was just really had an ear for some obscure music, like Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention came out of nowhere. This wasn't something that you heard on the radio. I mean, you had to kind of have an ear to the ground. There was no internet. I don't know how the heck she got her information on records and stuff, but she had Freak Out really early on. So I was fortunate to be in on the ground floor of the Mothers of Invention, and it was just a crazy record. Wow. That's up to May and June. So in May, We mentioned the Mamas and the Papas, Monday, Monday. That was a big hit. When a Man Loves a Woman, Percy Sledge is just a classic song. In June, Paint It Black, Rolling Stones was a number one song, and Paperback Writer. Can you imagine listening to the radio and those two songs were fighting it out for number one and number two on the charts? I mean, come on, man. July, I really saw nothing that was of interest. And then in August, this hits the store racks. Yes, Revolver. Come on, man. 13 years old and this album coming out? Wow. Mind-blowing is what it was. Mind-blowing. We all know a lot of people consider it the Beatles' greatest achievement, Revolver. And also in August, the same month the record drops, the Beatles come to Toronto and play 2 shows at Maple Leaf Gardens. August 17th. First show at 4 o'clock, second show at 8 o'clock. This did not sell out, fans of the Beatles, and I don't know why I didn't go. It's just one of my biggest regrets in music was that I did not go to this concert when tickets were available. The afternoon show, there was only 15,000 people there. The nighttime show, there was 17,000 people there. So there was 2,000 tickets at least for the afternoon show that I didn't buy one of. So I feel bad about that. A band that I didn't catch on their first album, but their first album came out in '66, is Jefferson Airplane Takes Off. They weren't on my radar yet, but they were coming up shortly and changed my life. Another amazing song that was on the radio back then, and just the coolest freaking record. One of the first psychedelic albums, as far as I'm concerned, Sunshine Superman, Donovan, came out in August of 1966. What else? East West, Paul Butterfield. You know, blues music was not. I'm just going by my recollections on this. Other people may have had different things on their radar, but to me, blues music, there was no such thing as the blues. I didn't know what it was. I thought it was the Rolling Stones music. I didn't know they were playing songs by Muddy Waters and whoever else. I thought it was just Rolling Stones music. So they introduced me to the music, but it wasn't until bands like Paul Butterfield Blues Band came around and John Mayall, the Blues Breakers, the Beano albums like that, where it started to become, oh wow, this is pretty cool. There are bands that just play blues, and this album came out in '66. Great record. I mean, East West is this is an essential album as far as I'm concerned. What else? September. Not a lot of albums I found that I'm really excited about, but I'll tell you what I was excited about and changed my musical life for a long time. The Monkees TV show debuted in September 1966. Oh, I fell in love with it, man. Fell in love with it. Crazy. First single, Last Train to Clarksville. Wasn't released until November, I don't think. Or hit number one in November. It was released in like August, I believe. So, yeah. But, Monkees TV show. I became such a huge fan. They were neck and neck with the Beatles, and I was like a Beatles nut. I lived, breathed, and ate Beatles. That's all I cared about. And the Monkees took a spot right beside them for a couple of years. October, their debut album came out. Man, I just love this record. I just picked up this reissue of it with some of the demos and outtakes, alternate takes on a second LP. Really good. This sounds great too. I just love the Monkees. Everybody who's watching my channel knows I've had the Monkees have had a resurgence in my life, and they are my number 2 band again. I just did that video with Sam St. John, where we named our top 15 bands, and I picked the Monkees number 2 because right now they are. I'm Monkees nuts, listening to it constantly. What else came out that month? How about some folky stuff? Simon and Garfunkel, Parsley, Sage, Rosemary, and Thyme. Man, what an album this is. Look at the songs on it. Scarborough Fair, Homeward Bound, 59th Street Bridge Song, Feeling Groovy, Dangling Conversation, For Emily Wherever I Might Find Her. I mean, just a beautiful, beautiful record. Simon and Garfunkel. Let's catch up with the charts here. In July, I didn't. I think I ended at June with Paperback Writer and Paint It Black. July, Paperback Writer still hanging in there for a couple of weeks, and then Strangers in the Night with Frank Sinatra. Just shows how the music charts back in those days were so eclectic. There was no, except for country and jazz, which some country crossed over, but there were country music stations, and there were jazz stations, and there were easy listening stations, but a lot of the music crossed over onto the pop charts, and so you could hear Frank Sinatra do Strangers in the Night, and then hear the Beatles do Paperback Writer, which is, I think, a lot of people my age grew up with an appreciation for a lot of different types of music because we heard it every day. Nowadays, the charts are so segmented. I feel sorry for young people because they're listening to the dance channel or they're listening to the rap channel or it doesn't seem to me that unless you're listening to alternative stations that you're getting, a wide variety of music genres. So August. I remember this song being on the radio constantly, and it was the heat of the summer. It was hot. Summer in the City, The Lovin' Spoonful. It was just an amazing song. One of my favorite songs from the '60s. Sunshine. That was all over the radio in August. September, Sunshine Superman, Donovan. I just showed the album. You Can't Hurry Love by the Supremes. Motown was huge. Cherish, and then October, we went into October, Cherish, The Association, Reach Out, I'll Be There, The Four Tops, 96 Tears, Question Mark and the Mysterians. Oh my God, what a great track that is. And then we go into November, which again, not a lot of cool albums came out that were on my radar, that somebody else might disagree. Last Train to Clarksville, which I showed. This was their big single that finally hit number one. I guess, they released it before the show came out, but then I guess once the show hit and everybody went nuts, this song just shot up the charts. It was all you ever heard. Monkees, Monkees, Monkees. Poor Side of Town, Johnny Rivers. Johnny Rivers had a ton of hits. Man. You Keep Me Hanging On, the Supremes. But I gotta say, I love that Vanilla Fudge version that came up later. And in December, wow, what a month. Good Vibrations, the Beach Boys, one of my all-time favorite Beach Boys songs, and one of my all-time, it's just a great track. And I'm a Believer, the Monkees ended the year. Number one on December 31st was the Monkees, I'm a Believer. December of 1966. This album was released. Buffalo Springfield. Who'd heard of Neil Young or Stephen Stills became superstars? And oh man, how many bands did these guys inspire? Lovin' Spoonful, short-lived band, but man, they put out at least two great albums, arguably three, I'll say two. This and Buffalo Springfield again. But just an amazing album for what it's worth. Was going to blow everybody's mind in a short time. And snuck out on the charts right at the end of the year, which I think started to change everything. We started to get into the heavy blues rock, moving into 1967, and Hendrix and all that stuff was coming. Fresh Cream just was released at the end of the year. Fantastic, mind-blowing album. Again, another album that I heard very early on and was just blown away by. That's 1966 in music. So I hope everybody enjoyed this. I'll be back with 1967 whenever I get my fat rear end off the couch and pull some records. So everybody have a great weekend. Peace out. Remember to go over to the Canadian Stud Muffin channel. You'll really enjoy our videos. Love you all. Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.